Alright, YouTube, I've gotten tired of people referring me to the Steve Pieczenik bullcrap on YouTube, the Hillary takeover of America stuff. This is an individual who has capitalized upon basically every fringe that he can. I don't care that he's former CIA, former State Department. That alone does not make somebody's claims credible. He's not in the CIA now. He's not in the State Department now. He goes on to Alex Jones's show and rambles about all of these fantastical things that he talks about. When somebody claims that 9/11 was an inside job, for example, as he has, I say you're half right. 9/11 was an actual event that was quickly capitalized upon by the most vicious, dishonest, warmongering elements of the United States government, as well as the Israeli government, the Saudi government, among others, half the European Union. Yeah, it was used as a money-making venture, as wars tend to be. That being said, the actual event was real. I found it funny. I looked him up. He's claiming, oh, Osama bin Laden died of Marfan syndrome or kidney failure or some bullshit very shortly thereafter. Now, technically, you're right insofar as I understand it. Benazir Bhutto certainly thought that Osama was dead before the raid that Obama pretended to conduct. I don't believe that, by the way. The government's offered me no evidence that that was a real raid. No photographic evidence, no dead Osama picture, no anything, no body, not even a DNA sample. So, oh yeah, we dumped him in the ocean. Just trust us, you dumb fucks. Yeah, I'm finding myself doubting that a little bit, like I would doubt the Gulf of Tonkin incident being true or something like that. But at the same time, no, I don't believe in the whole nanothermite or underground bunker buster nuke thing as an explanation for 9/11 because it doesn't make sense to me. You can rant all day to me about free fall speed. I'll say doesn't prove anybody specifically was involved. Could have been Larry Silverstein wanted billions of dollars. It had nothing to do with the U.S. government. I have no way of knowing because I wasn't actually there. So all this stuff, it's largely self-serving on his part. This claim that there's a coup d'etat in the U.S. government right now involving elements of the FBI and the CIA trying to take out the Clinton campaign and get rid of Obama, impeach him, get him thrown in a gulag or something. If these claims had any merit, don't you think that the government would probably weigh in on it a little bit? Say, oh no, it's not so? Or else he would mysteriously shoot himself 3 or 4 times in the back of the head or be found, in the East River with cement shoes or something like that. These claims that he's making regarding this, I think, are a distraction. I think maybe he was paid by the Clinton campaign to try to distract people who actually get excited about the possibility of conspiracies to take their attention away from the actual FBI email scandal that's going on right now enveloping the Clinton campaign, to take their mind off of that and put it on something else. Like half of these conspiracy theories around 9/11, they were injected by the U.S. government. The Bush administration engaged in this kind of propaganda regularly. I saw earlier somebody noticed that the term moonbat had been used several times on a 4chan thread, and somebody pointed this out, linked to those, and said, oh, Styx tried to warn us. Yes, I did. This is propaganda. It's a mimetic war. That's what you must understand. The U.S. government does this every single day. They inject stories into the media to help further their goals, usually engaged with wanting to start a war, wanting to dumb down a third party, wanting to destroy a politician or a candidate or whoever that's actually honest so they can keep the dishonesty, graft, and corruption going. Why do you think the entire legacy media is trying to take down Trump? It's because he's an insider-outsider as opposed to just an insider. He's actually been on both sides. Yeah, he's donated to political campaigns. That's why they fear him. They think he's going to call in a bunch of favors, actually get something accomplished for a while. Things will improve, and their bottom line will be decreased. They'll have to start a few fewer wars for a while. They'll have to take a break from all the nation-building and proxy conflicts. That's what they're worried about, ultimately. It's war incorporated. That's what they want to keep going. That, among other things. So, yeah, this crap with this conspiracy theorist, which is what he is, really, he's giving me no evidence to go on. I'm looking at this video saying there's nothing, all this is like his claim of what's going on. Well, I see no specific evidence that that's happening, but I do see evidence that the Clinton campaign intentionally broke the law in multiple ways, that they're terrified right now. They're in an absolute meltdown. The mere fact that I've got an increased number of shills on my channel just shows me how scared they are. I see them on Being Liberal. I see them on Salon. I see them on every other Facebook or Twitter post. Shills, shills, shills by the thousands, all fielding sock accounts. They're not doing this because they're confident. They're doing this because they're absolutely terrified. We've got less than a week to go until voting occurs, and the Clinton campaign is falling hard. Look at the polling. Trump is continuing to rise. For another day, he's continuing to skyrocket. And that's on top, by the way, of the fact that he was organically rising back up to his long-term average. Most of what you see so far in RCP, by the way, most of that's just Trump regressing back to his long-term norm. Clinton hasn't even suffered the true collapse yet in the polling, because it hasn't been aggregated yet, because today will be the first time we get a few polls that are actually entirely conducted in the post-FBI scandal period. As far as Steve Pieczenik, or I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce his name and I don't really care, no, he's just a shill. Most of the people like Glenn Beck when he had his crap artist show, or Alex Jones. I say Alex Jones is entertaining, sometimes he's informative, but mostly, first and foremost, he is a businessman. He's a businessman who uses clickbait in order to drive more views, sell more products, get more ad revenue, and make more money. Now, I have no problem with that whatsoever, with that business model. Ultimately, it's a form of entertainment for people that find that sort of thing entertaining. It's like the Weekly World News or the Inquirer or something like that. Most of it's not true. A lot of people understand that that's the fact, but it's still interesting to read. It's still interesting to watch him. And when he pretends that he's going crazy and starts ripping his shirt off and rambling about conspiracies, it's hilarious. I have no problem with him on that count. But that being said, most of the people that are coming on his program to talk about some conspiracy or another, months and months later, you find out, oh, nothing ever happened with that. Why? Because it wasn't real. It's self-serving bullcrap in this case. And again, I wouldn't be surprised. There's every reason to believe that this is just like the 9/11 nanothermite or bunker busters or whatever being peddled at the time within the years after 9/11. Much of that was injected by the U.S. government itself to distract people who might make use of the internet to actually dig for truth, to distract them from the actual scandal, which is that numerous foreign states, the Saudis, the Israelis, were involved in duping us into Iraq based on faulty intelligence, based on a misreading of what happened in 9/11, involved with a terrorist mastermind who very likely was dead within a few years of 9/11. Probably some of those Osama tapes weren't real, regardless of who manufactured them. Maybe it was the Saudis, maybe it was the Israelis, maybe Bush himself had them manufactured. Doesn't matter. Old news. But yes, the U.S. government misused 9/11, an actual tragedy where actual people died, regardless of what form you think that tragedy took on. They misused it to start several wars, make billions of dollars for people generally associated, let's face it, with Dick Cheney, in order to fuck up the Middle East, leading to most of the problems we have over there now, and they're still doing it. They tried to dupe us similarly in Syria. Instead of a U.S. attack, they tried to say, oh, thousands of people have been hit with nerve gas. It was Assad. We have to intervene now. It's crossed a total red line. But the public ignored it. The public ignored it. Rightfully so, because it was propaganda. The FSA probably deployed the nerve gas. The nerve gas was probably given to them by a bunch of Iraqi government officials who dug it back out from Saddam's own stockpile or manufactured their own and had the blessing of at least several foreign states in so doing to knock off Bashar al-Assad. That's what's happening. It's all about making money and controlling territory, and central to all of these proxy conflicts, every conspiracy, whether injected or real, it's all centralized on the grand chessboard. Look at the Middle East, look at a map of countries that don't like Russia, and then ponder over the Middle East and how it looks for a while, and you'll get the idea. We're trying to complete the ring around Russia. Now I say, yeah, go ahead and complete your ring, and hopefully we can eventually get rid of the nuclear stalemate of the world. Maybe we can do so without causing a nuclear war. But this isn't the way to do it. Because this, in the long term, it could destabilize our own culture. We could end up destroying ourselves before we actually accomplish that. So what's the fucking point? Lead to a nuclear war anyway. So I'm ignoring this dude because I'm going to assume he's a shill. I'm going to assume he's been paid by the Clinton campaign to take a few 100,000 people's eyes off of what's actually going on with the Clinton campaign. WikiLeaks and O'Keefe and the Podesta leaks and everything, Donna Brazil's scandals, Tim Kaine's bullcrap, how evil and corrupt the Clinton machine is, all of her problems with tiny rallies and FBI email investigations and Anthony Weiner and Huma Abedin. It's a shit show of one scandal after another. I'm not going to take my eye off of what all of that's happening, that I can in many cases verify as reality, like WikiLeaks. Those aren't doctored emails. Russia wasn't involved. Those are real releases from people within the Clinton campaign. They're real. It's a real scandal. O'Keefe's videos, they're real. It's a real scandal. The Podesta leaks are a real scandal. Donna Brazil is part of a real scandal. Hillary Clinton is corrupt. She's probably had people killed. But I'm not going to go over and start pondering a secret soft coup by the FBI and CIA into the Clintons and the Obamas because it doesn't make sense and there's no evidence. There's no way for me to verify it's even part of reality. So I would appreciate it if people would stop linking me to that material. I appreciate people trying to keep me abreast of all the political situations going on. Trust me, I saw, as soon as this dropped, I use 4chan, which means I usually get my news on anything like that hours before anybody else, probably on this channel, is aware that it's going on, unless they're seeing the same thread that I'm seeing on, like, 4chan or something like that. I know what's going on. But trying to post the Steve Pieczenik or whatever video link in the comments on totally unrelated material, I don't think you understand. What you're actually doing is distracting people from actual scandals. We need to hold Hillary Clinton to account for the crimes that she's committed. Definitive, objective, observable crimes, including the first round of the email scandal that the FBI let her off on, probably under orders from people like Kodzik within the DOJ. We need to hold her account for things that we can verify are reality, not start spouting off about this dude who's linked directly to Alex Jones, rambling about a coup among the FBI members, as though it somehow pertained to an investigation that probably the FBI had to be dragged to, that Comey himself may not ultimately even have wanted to pursue. I'm speculating when I say Comey wants to take her down, and he's trying to warn the American people, yeah, she's corrupt, but I can't tell you openly, so I'm going to send this letter to Congress, and I'm going to make it public, in a breach of general FBI protocol. That's a leap, I understand that. But at the very least, we've got something tangible there. This dude's not offering me anything tangible. It's just the same as with 9/11. It becomes very difficult to hold the government to account for warmongering and lying to the American public, for covering up the truth, when people are rambling about nanothermite, UFOs, and how Osama bin Laden was some sort of secret CIA agent. It becomes extremely difficult because people who would be open to admitting that there was wrongdoing are so absorbed in a bunch of admittedly more interesting but ultimately false material, you can't actually get them to discuss what you're talking about. Other people, meanwhile, look at you, label you a truther, say you're just a nut, and they assume that the government's own official story was true, which it's not. I can assure you of that. It's just like the Gulf of Tonkin. We'll find out 30, 40 years from now that the story around 9/11 was false. The Saudis were more directly involved than even the 9/11 investigation admits. The Israeli state was involved. Certainly Netanyahu's people, anyway, were involved. Bush profited directly off of it. Cheney profited directly off of it. And they discussed it during that period of time. They knew that they were going to profit from it. They knew Saddam didn't have WMDs to the degree that they said that he did, and that it was totally unconnected with 9/11. They probably knew that Osama was already dead in a cave somewhere years before the so-called raid that Obama conducted. No, I don't believe that. I was offered no evidence by the government for the same reason that I reject that theory that the government has put forth, because they disclosed no body, they gave us no picture of a body, they gave us nothing verifiable, nothing tangible that we could judge for ourselves that their story was true. That's the same reason I'm going to reject this piece of crap video. It's just one long spiel about a soft coup without any evidence that there's a soft coup going on. By the way, it might have the unintended effect, or maybe intended effect if he's a CTR shill or something, of getting all the Trump fans to say, oh, well, Hillary's going to be taken out by the FBI at some point, so we don't even have to go vote or something like that. Oh, she's done now. That's probably the worst thing that you could do. Trump is right, by the way, when he says operate from the principle of being slightly behind. Yeah, no, that's how Trump fans should operate. If you're not going out to vote for him, yeah, it's going to be a big problem. He needs higher turnout to really put the screws to the Clinton campaign. So no, I'm going to ignore this because it looks like shilling to me. That's about all. Peace out.